them really well. We can have very sort of like open and transparent discussions about what we want to do. And they're really fully supportive. I think it's just, but also I think between us, what we make I think because of our sort of joint experience within the industry, we kind of, we do have an ear for like what's to make something that is kind of like not pandering to kind of make it sound like a specific way, but we know that we can keep it within sort of quite broad parameters so that it won't be something that people are absolutely gonna like not be able to listen to. It's sort of like we can challenge ourselves, but still, we still all enjoy like, melody and just in beautiful music. So I think there's kind of, we like make sure that there's room for a lot of ideas in there that, I think hopefully appeal to a lot of people.
That's great. That's a very good answer, actually. I want to bring your attention some tracks here from some albums, and feel free to elaborate of how did the album come together or the particular track. The first one is the what can you tell me about The World Was Gone from the album, I think it's called A Small Murmuration, if I remember correctly, right? From
I remember we were on the way to a gig. It was pre-Ollie, and we were going to go play a gig somewhere in London, and you were twiddling around with is it a small guitar?
Yeah. I'd bought a small guitar for the music office we worked in. And
called Peter
the Geeter, and drew a smiley face on the back of it because everyone who worked in the music company was musicians, so we're often getting frustrated by not being able to play. So I bought this little guitar to put in the office so people could noodle around with when they want. And that riff came from just messing around just before going to a gig. And it kind of stuck, and that's actually been quite a successful song for us because it's been used on so many TV programs and things. So that's how that came about. Yeah.
Good for you, man. What about another track? It's more obscure, but I really like it. Horizon, from the album A Quiet Ritual. I think from 2019, if I remember correctly. And that's a very, very good piece as well. If you can remember how that came together.
We wrote that together, didn't we, in the Castle studio we had in Wiltshire. Ollie, can you remember any more about it?
You know what? That's one, like, I think, did you like have the vocal first? Like, I feel like you might have had like a lyric.
Yeah, the vocal to me is I think I've said this in so many interviews, but when I write a lyric or a song, I can't really write it until I have a picture in my head, and then I describe the picture backwards, if you know what I mean. And like horizon to me is obviously just a horizon, but the idea being that you can't hide, you're so out in the open, but there's no darkness, there's no kind of secret place that you can scurry off to. You're just exposed and scared, if you know what I mean.
And I think the instrumentation for that came with Ollie and I as well, trying to create a sense of horizon. So when the lyric "It's All Horizon" comes out, we had a lot of discussions about trying to musically mirror that in the bit that came after that to make it kind of flat and horizon-like. So a lot of our music mirrors the vocal in kind of an abstract way, but I definitely remember long discussions about how we were going to drag this and musically represent a horizon.
I remember as well that we just found this, like, we just made this drone sound and it was so massive. I think we just kind of was just sitting around in one of those times where you just like get really excited about this noise that you just made. I'm pretty sure like we just made this noise and we're just like, oh my God. and then I remember that sort of specific moment. But it was like it took a while to get to where it was, because I remember we had a much more like aggressive outro before. It was like much more pace and like really like hard hitting. You had some like really hard hitting drums that you'd done, Russ, and before, like, which I was like obviously very excited by. But I liked the journey it took to get to where it was. I think it's sort of where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, the album, The Quiet Ritual, I listened to on is entirely last night, and it's different, more progressive. It's more up tempo. It's a very, very good album. How long does it take for a band like you guys, put an album or put 10 or 11 tracks together? It's like a year process, or you're always...
I'd say, the first one we did with Ollie, A Wrecking, we went away to a small cottage for 4 days and intensely wrote music from 8 a.m. in the morning to 2 a.m. And basically wrote, I'd say, 80% of the album in this 4-day period. And that was one process, but then we wanted to do something completely different. So the album after that had took a long time. And the other thing is we were meant to work with an orchestra on that album, but then the musical director left the orchestra, so the orchestra disappeared. So we had to kind of rejig the whole thing again. And we decided to work with, we're really interested in history and folklore. So we wanted to have like a key instrument that would be a really old instrument that was kind of ritual. And we found this instrument called the carnix, which is an iron-aged instrument that was dug out of a bog. And it looked as if it had been, it's basically a 12-foot trumpet with the trumpet head that has a boar head, like a wild pig, with a articulated tongue in the mouth. And there's only one of these instruments that has been reconstructed from 2,000 years ago. So we got the one instrument and the one person who could play it, which is John Kenny, who appears on a lot of the tracks. So that kind of gave us something to aim for, but it also made the process probably a year and a half by the time we actually got it all recorded, all written, and quite an intense process, really. So it varies from 4 days to a year.
In fact, we've written the next one.
Yeah, it was a couple of years by the end of it, after all the arrangements and the mixing, and but it was a great process. And like you can see John in the real world session, you can see John up on the balcony with the carnix, and it's a crazy instrument. He was a really interesting guy to work with, and just in general a really lovely guy with lots of stories about his various like travels and stuff.
Wow. And I want to bring your attention to the videos that Hannah sent me. I think as mentioned before, they were recorded live at Peter Gabriel's Real World Studios, and those live version seemed to be a lot more vivid than the album one, and I love it. So how would you guys pull that off? I mean, they're very, very well done. Very, very well done.
Thanks. Well, the nice thing about that session was, so when we were sort of writing for the orchestra, we had somebody to come in and sort of like write, help write the orchestral parts with us, Toby Young, and he, for the real world sessions, we got a string trio in, so we got first violin, viola, and cellist, and he'd just done a sort of small version of the score that we used, that he'd written especially for this session. I think also it's different because when we write, we don't really limit ourselves into how we're sort of like performing. Like we just kind of write and get everything to get, like, you know, just get everything recorded and put it together to sound how we feel it's best sounded. But then because we were sort of performing this, we had, like, you know, certain limitations. So I think it kind of just like streamlined it a little bit. So we had to kind of simplify things a bit more. And then obviously with John coming down, it just kind of brought it to life a bit more as well. And Ross had this thing, like it was like a robot drummer basically. Maybe you can explain what it was, Ross, because I don't really remember the details. But
yeah, there's this. They're called poly-end perks, and it's basically like a drumstick that you can program with a computer to play the drums. And because we didn't have a drummer and at the time, and a lot of the drums were acoustic but recorded, when we wanted to play them live in a space, we didn't want to just play back a recording. So I used these 3 little robot drumsticks to play the actual drums, and then I played baron to kind of to back that up. But it's in the room behind, in Real World Studios, there was basically a robot playing the drums, which might not have come across on camera, but that's how the drums were there.
Those videos, I really like them. Seeing those tracks live, and they're very, very well done put together. I really enjoy watching. I have seen like 4 or 5 times each one of them.
Oh, thank you.
It's very, very good. And you mentioned, Anna, it wasn't that expensive to, well, literally, I mean, that expensive to book the studio for, or at least one of the room for like a day or 2, or no?
It was really, really reasonable. And they had they included lunch and for all the musicians, and great food, really nice vibes. All the engineers were amazing and so helpful. And I'd thoroughly recommend, even a small band, it's totally feasible.
Yeah, I mentioned before that I would like to visit the place. Maybe I will email a couple of people that are on the website to see if I want to go there for, not book the studio, but because I don't play any instrument, but go and visit, take some picture, or get a lunch or something.
You could interview one of the engineers, and they have so many, like Ollie, for instance. Not Ollie, but Ollie, the engineer there, is really good and works with so many different people, and could probably talk about the recording experience.
That's exactly my point. I would love to interview them to, who play, what would be the hardest recorder, the easiest one, who the people have recorded the live session. Then you're absolutely right. That maybe I should do that. Because I'm always looking for all sides of the angles. I have interviewed folks that are record label owners, and then I'm going to be interviewing the head of the Bandcamp. And I reach out to the guy from Spotify. I don't know if they will answer or not, me, because it's a lot of controversy right now with Spotify. So it's kind of crazy, but I don't want to criticize Spotify now. I want to see the different angle, right? So, how the pricing is structured, what a complaint. The guy from Bandcamp, right? Why you decide to put it together where artists get, 90% of the fans, they go directly to the musician, which is great. So I'm always want to know the strategy behind stuff, pretty much where it comes down, right? So I'm go and see shows, but now I want to see behind the scene what happened, so how the stuff together,
Put you in touch.
Completely.
We'll put you in touch with Ollie.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, and then hopefully one day Peter Gabriel. I'm a dreamer, man. I want to interview everybody.
Apparently he's around sometimes. He just pops in and says hello. But they've got all those. When we were recording, like before, while we were setting up, one of the other staff came in, and he was wearing the muscle suit.
Yeah.
From I can't remember what music video it was, but it was the muscle suit that Peter Gabriel wore, and they just came in, and it was just like, oh, look what I found. So that was pretty funny. But, yeah,
I would love to interview him, and I from Genesis have only interviewed 2 people, and I interviewed already. I don't know if you know the name, but one guy that was the main photographer of the best Genesis years, and they all kind of stories. The guy told me it's a fascinating picture that he was taking, and it's you know, Genesis is one of my favorite bands. So hopefully one day Peter Gabriel will be talking to this. And looking back in your career, and what moment are special to you, and any regret or thing you would have done differently looking back in your career now, or what?
I think probably sort of working visa out before.
Yeah.
In terms of, I don't think there's much we would have. Probably earlier on, there's always a compromise between recording and making the records that we want to do and playing live. And I think perhaps if we'd had more emphasis on creating sounds in a way that we could play them live and tour easily, it would have changed the sounds of the records, yes, but it would have also been quite freeing in the fact that we'd have been able to play live a lot more. I think that's maybe one regret that I have, is that we didn't design the music to be played live. And that was always quite an arduous experience, trying to convert a record for us to be able to play it live.
I remember at some points, Ollie, when we were first touring or trying to tour a wrecking, Ollie would be playing, violin, was it? And then you'd drop the violin, swing around and start playing the guitar, like within seconds. The multi-instrumentalist, literally within one track.
It was the other, I'd have to stop playing guitar and then pick up the violin and play, but then I'd have to swing the guitar like around my back. So if we're playing like in a smaller space, that could be quite disastrous because you've got this guitar like swinging around. Yeah. But I think, that was, I enjoyed that tour. It was good.
Any plan to do like a live album this year, or live recording to be released to the public, or will be difficult?
It will be difficult this year. I think this album, the album that we're recording at the moment, stripped down versions of this could be played live, because a lot of them are using like instruments that we've picked up. And we could definitely do stripped down versions. It's just a bit difficult with us being based in rural Ireland, Ollie being in Gothenburg. The studio we had before was a beautiful big place, and we had intended to record some more live sessions. But I would definitely like to do another session like the real world ones, where we pick a few tracks and then try and do those properly, because I really found that an amazing experience.
Oh, I completely agree. Well, let me know. Keep me posted. I may fly around if I, but Hannah, feel free to put me in touch with the other Oli guy, so I can interview the guy and to tell a kind of story. So I have only like 2 more questions. So what is coming up for you guys? What is coming up in the next 3 months or 6 months from now?
We were just talking about that actually before the call with you for the interview. We're going to hopefully be finishing off the tracks that we're doing on this album. We've demoed a lot of them. We've got to re-record the vocals, and then hopefully we're going to get Ollie over at some point this year to put the final polishing on that album. And I think that'll be out in 2023.
And then all of us have our own projects and things that we need to do. Hannah's got a guitar-based project that's amazing and some of the best stuff she's written. So we need to prioritize recording that. Ollie's got his project that's on Houndstooth. I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm sure he can tell you what's going on with that.
Yeah, I've just yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No. I was handing over to you.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm the same. I'm just just found some more time to write my own project now as well, which is good. That's called The Keep, and that's also Houndstooth released that as well, which is very nice of them to believe in me. So yeah, just doing that and Snow Ghost really, which is the dream, because I had quite a lot of jobs on, and it's nice to finish them off and spend time on music that we really love.
Yeah. What about? Go ahead.
Ollie's also in an amazing band called Sex Swing, which is just incredible. So I really hope that they come out with a new album, at least.
Wow.
Yeah, we're trying to work on that as well, but we're even more spaced out. There's 6 of us, and we're between the Netherlands, Sweden, and the UK. So that's even more of a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
What about the 3 of you touring either in Ireland or in the UK or other cities in Europe? Any plan for next year maybe, or you guys prefer more kind of don't tour the much and then more studio things?
I think we aim to get albums recorded before prioritizing touring, just because we do a lot of we've got some films coming up that we do have to do the scores for, and that's an intense process, deadlines and feeding back with people, so that often takes 3 or 4 months. And then with our own albums as well, and more jobs coming in, and having dogs and things like that we can't leave for too long. As I say, touring maybe not, but one-off shows and recording them for posterity so people can see them online and things like that. I think that might be more of a priority rather than touring, because it's not necessarily something we can financially take the hit on, because we need to keep on working in other areas really.
I get you. And you mentioned film score. What kind of soundtrack are going to be in which areas, like science fiction, comedy?
This is more, the one that's coming up is like a folk horror kind of thing. Quite dark. Yeah,
it's like it's written for us already.
Yeah, so that was came off the back of doing 2 charity films. The director was doing these films for a charity on 2 quite poignant issues at the moment to do with young kids and understanding harassment in schools, and the other one about FGM. So we like to do stuff that's good for the world, not just indulgent projects as well. So we'll see what happens. Really
good for you, man. Well, I never seen you guys playing live, and hopefully one day I will have the opportunity to see you guys, and hopefully
we'll do a private concert just for you. Don't worry.
Okay. Oh, I will fun.
It might be on Zoom though.
Well, we need to do it. Yeah, man. As I said before, the staff and Peter Gabriel Studios, and it was very, very well done. And gotta admit that. I would like to see another 5. Easy for me to say, but another 3 tracks and another 5 track, and perhaps, I don't know, release like a a DVD or a Blu-ray. I don't know if it's money like that, but
yeah.
And,
yeah, well, we'll have to see. We've got lots of ideas for this album about what we do, so we'll discuss it with the label and see what they say.
Yeah. And what about Bandcamp? Is it decent money? Are you guys getting decent money on a monthly basis?
Bandcamp is always preferable to almost anything else, just because the amount of just purely because you make like 1,000 times more for someone buying one track.
One track, yeah.
It's ridiculous. I think it's like if you buy one album from Bandcamp, it's more money than basically streaming our music for an entire year almost constantly. So I think it's always encouraged people to go Bandcamp over almost anything else.
Yeah, what I would like to do is buy. I like digital things. I mean, I like vinyl. I buy a lot of vinyl, and I buy CDs. I need to touch things. You know, digital doesn't do that much. So we need to buy. I don't know if they're available in a vinyl format or CD, and then somehow send it to you guys so you can sign it and then send it back. And
yeah, definitely we can probably do that from the label. If you order it from the label direct, we can definitely do that. We've had quite a few requests from that recently. Actually, people wanting signed stuff, but it means the carbon footprint's rather large when it has to go from London to Ireland to Gothenburg, back to London, and then out again. So, but we'll try our best.
Yeah, what I have done for several musicians already, on I will buy it here in the United States. Let's say the vinyl is kind of cumbersome, but the CDs, take the CD insert, send in an envelope for them. And then they will sign it, and then they will send me the envelope back, and I will pay for all the, shipping charges and kind of stuff.
And we do spend a lot of time designing the sleeves of the CDs, but especially the vinyl.
Yeah.
We do spend a lot of time because I think all of us grew up in an era where liner notes and the photography and the artwork in general is part of having a release, really.
And we're lucky enough that the label fund and back us doing vinyl and CDs, and even for like small EP and remixes, which is great. But yeah, they're great. Houndstooth are the best.
Yes.
Yeah. In that record label, they have a lot of different artists. I was checking the website the other day. Some people I never heard of it, but I need to check them out. But I think the record label is doing okay, right?
Yeah. We can't say enough nice things about them. They've been amazing for us, I think. So.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you guys. Well, it was very nice talking to you guys, and very good luck to you, man. I hope things work out well, and keep on working, keep on doing your own thing. Don't have a plan B, easy for me to say. Just plan A, and with all the other side projects that you guys have, Oli has, and Hannah as well. And good luck to you guys, and hopefully I will see you guys live one day and meet you and go out to dinner or something like that, man.
Perfect.
That'd be good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Same here, man. Take it easy. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care. Bye.